Welcome to Porch Play Chats, sponsored by the American Association for the Child's Right to Play, or more affectionately titled IPA USA. IPA USA is the USA affiliate of the International Play Association, and as part of our work to promote play, we've introduced Porch Play Chats, and there are now over 200 of them free to you. So you can find the Porch Play Chats at our website, ipausa.org. Up in that top right-hand corner, subscribe to our YouTube channel, be a friend on our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and there's even a Spotify that you can get them free, all the Porch Play Chats free on Spotify. And magically, every Monday morning, a new Porch Play Chat will appear in your feed. I'm Deb Lawrence, and I'm the president of IPA USA, and with me on the porch is Lisa Murphy. Hey, Lisa.
Hello.
And Debbie Rhea is back with us. Debbie is a professor of kinesiology and the founding director of the LiiNK Project at Texas Christian University. Dr. Rhea has been an educator for the past 42 years, the first 11 in K-12 physical education and the last 31 at the university level, preparing physical education teachers and researching children through physical activity and play. She's an author, researcher, motivational speaker, educational consultant, and behavior change trainer. And the research project she's most known for is LiiNK, Let's Inspire Innovation in Kids, which I just truly love, which is moving schools to think differently about creating a whole child, whole teacher learning environment. Dr. Rhea has received national media attention as a result of LiiNK from many different news outlets such as the Today Show, the Washington Post, and the NBC Nightly News. She's published in numerous journals, and she is the most amazing resource in helping children and teachers explore physical education and the outdoors. So today's topic is teachers and the outdoors. Ooh, that is filled with good information already.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to be on here. Thanks for having me on.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
So what do you mean?
There you go.
Great question.
Well, I would imagine that some teachers aren't as comfortable as some when they start thinking about going outdoors. So let's use
oh my
that
gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes. So when I started LiiNK many years ago, I thought I've got to learn about where teachers are with all this, because when I thought about the weather guidelines that most schools go by to get kids outside, it's typically, if it's colder than 50 degrees, they're not going out.
Oh.
And if it's warmer than 90, they're not going out. So it gives them a 40-degree span. And when you're in you're in Texas, that's a problem. And when you're up in the Northeast, Northwest, that's a problem, right? I mean, you got too many extremes here. So to change the mindset of a teacher and an administrator around when is it okay to go outside and when is it safe and, it's not going to be a problem, as well as you've got adults who don't like the outdoors. They have not been really raised in it over the past 20 to 30 years because recess has diminished so much in schools and safety at playgrounds and safety at home. So when you think about a teacher, you go, how many of them are just going to say, well, I'm going to just do more work during recess time because I really don't want to go outside. It's 35, 40 degrees out and it's too cold. So that's where this came from, is I needed to train teachers differently to really be around the mindset of why the outdoors is important for them, just as it is for the kids, and what those temperatures, the temperatures would be safely to be out there. So that's how it started. So that it's a tricky little dilemma here, but what I've done is I've used my behavior change expertise to work with teachers on the importance of the outdoors for them, and especially from a stress perspective in school.
Oh, okay.
And when teachers, they don't realize, let me rephrase that. Adults in general do not realize the amount of chronic stress that is on them every day, like chronically meaning at least 10, 12, 15 days in a row.
Mhm.
And what we find is that teachers in general are cursed with stress on a daily basis,
Mhm.
which means that when they think about their lives, they've been doing this for so long that they have normalized stress in their lives. Okay.
High levels of stress.
High levels of stress. So the question I always ask them when I do a training, and it gets kind of personal, but the question is, during the week when you're teaching, how many times do you get to go to the bathroom during the day?
Mm.
And the answer is 1 to 2 times a day. Now, how many adults should only have 1 to 2 times they can go to the bathroom a day? Well, what they end up doing is limiting the amount of fluids they take in, which also stresses the body because they're becoming dehydrated. Then I ask them, how many bathroom breaks do you take on the weekend? And they'll go, oh my gosh, I'm going to the bathroom all the time. And I go, that's interesting. Well, I already knew that answer, right? Because I was a teacher who always had to live in that realm as well for a while. And you think about that, and then you ask them, how many headaches are you having during the week? And then you ask them, are you having a hard time focusing to get your grading done? Well, when all of that starts surfacing, they go, oh my gosh, this is impacting me? Oh my gosh, you need to take my stress management class. Because stress management is all about what you're facing and that you've normalized something that shouldn't be normal. So that's where it starts. And then I go to what the outdoor provides. And I've probably talked about this again, but it never hurts to talk about it again.
Never hurts.
So for anybody, D3 is probably one of the most important aspects of what you get when you're outdoors. And that is because the sun is what promotes the D3 production in the body. You don't have to be in a direct sun, but as long as you're outside during the day, you're getting the D3. The hazard part of this is that you only want to be out at 15 to 20 minutes max at a time without sunscreen or clothing protection for the sun. But if you can do that, which is what LiiNK provides in recess at 15 minutes per recess, you can be out there every hour to hour 15 without sunscreen on, and it's not detrimental to your skin. So it's more of it's a positive surface thing, right? Because you're getting what you need in the D3, but you're not blocking it out.
By the
Some
sunscreen.
people will, right? They'll block it out because they don't want any sun on their skin. Now, I didn't say you couldn't wear hats. So teachers, you can always wear hats. Adults, please wear a hat, if you want to. The place that you want the D3 is between the elbow and the wrist. So they say the best time to get it is between 10 and 2. Well, with LiiNK, our recesses are typically at least 2 of them between 10 and 2.
And then 2.
And then the other 2 are usually before and after. But if they can get those 2 recesses between 10 and 2, and they have that 15 minutes each, they are promoting immune system boosting. They're literally bringing that immune system up to fight the stress that they might have with the other parts. But here's the other interesting thing, is that as a result of going outside for those 15 minutes each and being unplugged. So let me remind you of a LiiNK break again. LiiNK breaks are 15 minutes, truly outdoors, unstructured, disconnected from technology. So not on your phone to search emails, not on your phone to make phone calls while the kids are playing. This is your time to play too. This goes across anybody. If you're going out for the break, unplugged, unstructured,
15 minutes,
with play,
unstructured.
15 minutes, and go to the bathroom on the way out, not the way in. And the reason for that is because when you're through with your break, you want to be able to come in and be on. You're focused. You can be focused again. But if you have to do the bathroom on the way in, you've just unintentionally lost minutes on the time that you have with your kids to be focused again.
And
So-
I think what is so beautiful about LiiNK is that, you know, typically at recess, whatever recess they may have during the day, if they have one, typically at recess, the teachers aren't outside with them, right? They don't go outside at lunch recess. They have recess people outside, right? Or individuals that are outside doing that. And so this gives you an opportunity not only to build relationships with children, and I just want to clarify for folks, 15 minutes is 15 minutes outside, not getting to outside or coming in from outside. It's 15 minutes outside.
Yep, so it's 15 minutes from the time they exit the building until the 15 minutes is up on the playground.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes, so important because
so we'll get hung up. We only got 15 minutes and now we're going to go to the bathroom, and now why bother going out? You know, because yeah. I like that clarification.
And they go every hour and 15 minutes throughout the day, right?
Yeah, for the young ones, they should be going at least every 60 minutes, right? If they can go 45 to 60, that's great for the littles. But for the older kids, if they're getting 60 to 75 minutes between, they can handle that. Although, just like us as adults, it's still hard to focus after an hour, right?
It is. It was really interesting at the TASK conference that Lisa and I just got back from, the Association for the Study of Play conference. One of the things that was really interesting with folks that would come up to me after a session, each of the sessions was an hour, but sometimes people couldn't even stay for an hour. They needed to get up and move. You know, people are always moving in my sessions, but it was interesting how they said, you know, I can't even be focused for an hour. How can I expect my children to be focused for an hour? And so I think that sort of that connection for them is really helpful in understanding that when they go over into 75 minutes, it's really not time well spent or productive because kids have already zoned out, because not even an adult can do that.
Absolutely. And in fact, you know, adults, whether they're in a classroom, in a business place, you know, doing homeschool, whatever it may be, they're usually trying to keep the kids busy for the last 30 or 45 minutes. They're not doing pure content. Everybody's fooling themselves if they think that anybody can be there for, and get this one, English language arts for 120 minutes a day. And some schools are doing 120 minutes together before they take a break.
It's crazy.
They don't even think about doing a break in the middle of it. Just go out and play and come back in. It's 120 minutes. And when I started LiiNK, that's what teachers were doing. And I don't know how in the heck. Well, they were doing centers. They were rotating them around centers. But how much was working around technology? Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Doing those centers. So there's a lot wrong with what we're doing with adults as well as what we're doing for kids. And I'm so concerned about adults and their stress levels, because it's administrators, teachers, parents, it's everybody that's having these kind of issues, trying to do too much in too much time and not taking enough breaks outdoors. So,
you know, it's really interesting how you're talking about the almost physiological impact of just being outside, right? So I'm in a college classroom on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I teach for 4.5 hours, and I have a 15-minute break, and then I teach for 3 hours. And in that 15-minute break, I try to go outside. I take my lunch and I walk out the door if the weather is decent. And it is amazing how as soon as I walk out, immediately it's like, And so I want you to give yourself permission to do that, because it's our listeners, because you need to feel it and experience that release that you have when no one's talking to you, no one's asking a question, no one's doing this. With the in between the class, sometimes we go outside. And when I'm doing the 3-hour block, sometimes it's like, okay, we're going to go out and do this outside on the grass if the weather's nice, because they need a break too. They've probably been in classes back to back to back as well.
Can I
So
suggest, yeah, let me suggest another thing. I totally agree with what you're saying. But what I do when I have a 3-hour class on Mondays.
Mhm.
And on that, or even in the summer when I have 2-hour classes, Monday through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for 4 weeks.
Mhm.
Anytime I have anything over an hour 20,
Mhm.
any classes like that, I
Mhm.
present to them at the beginning of class. We will be taking LiiNK breaks throughout our classes.
Mhm.
And these are the rules. You will go outside.
Mhm.
Even if you just stand outside, you will go outside. You will be out there for 15 minutes.
Mhm.
When you come back in, make sure you've gone to the bathroom on the way out, not the way in.
Mhm.
You take your technology with you, put it in your back pocket, otherwise leave it in the classroom.
Mhm.
And it will be, and I tell them when those breaks will be. And then I have them put their timer on their phone. So it's like a symphony going off in the classroom.
When it's time to take a break. I love it.
And at that point, it's out and we go. And I ask them every time we come in, so how do you feel?
Mhm.
And then I'll ask another question, and it's always bizarre. It'll be something like, how many clouds were in the sky? Or how many colors of green did you see today? And I get them to start moving towards thinking about more how the picture of the outdoors looks, because we know, here's another physiological piece. We know that we need to see a broad focus outdoors.
I know.
And then the target focus if something is going on that we need to zoom in on. But we need that field and that target to go in and out if we want to decrease ADHD in people. So the more we can get them to see the broad picture, that field focus, and then also be able to target on somebody, they're talking to somebody that they're out there with. But too many times, adults will just focus in outdoors on each other and not look at what is around them.
Yeah.
So I do all kinds of questions out there, but I would, yes, take it even further, Deb, even
Mhm.
make them think about it and force them to go out there.
Well, it's really interesting and you can do this with students, right? Because, Lowe's and Home Depot hide everything when I walk in the door. I go over to the paint chips and I grab different paint chips. And one of our breaks, which is their target, so that's not all they do when they're out there. Lots of times they're looking around at the environment. But I'll say, pick a paint chip out of this huge array of paint chips and go find something that's this color outside. And can I just tell you how much fun they have? And they have to bring it back. And I'll say, try to find more than one. And they are so excited. And I'll say, how was that experience when you went out? And they said, oh, I found this and this, and I helped so-and-so find this and this and this. And then we went over here, and I've never been over here before. It was like, oh. And they're out there. I say, you've got 15 minutes from the time you walk out the door. And they love it.
That's a great idea. Great idea.
But so that, even young children could do that. First graders could do that. Second graders, third graders, fourth graders, they can all do that.
Yep.
And it's a target though, which is what I'm rethinking in my head. But they do have to scan the environment.
Yep.
Before they can find where their target is. So that maybe it works. I don't know.
It could, and the other thing is, if you have more than one break where you go out there, these random questions are great because they don't know what you're going to ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time I ask something different, I may ask, okay, did you see any unusual birds out today?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just about, random stuff. Was there a car in your landscape when you were out there? What color was the car? What kind of car? So it's random, but if you were able to do that where they don't know on sometimes what they're going to get, and other times, it's random, but it's targeted, they're at least going to get both types, both boundaries. So
yeah.
good.
And think about, and then how do they feel? I'm wondering if you even have them. Now, of course, they've just rushed out and rushed back in, but do you have them take their pulse or
I don't have them do the pulse. It's more emotional. So I ask them, how did the outdoors actually make you feel? Are you more relaxed? are you more focused? Did you see that when you went outside, you were able to breathe deeper? You know, what kinds of things actually happen physiologically to you that, but I don't usually ask their heart rate because they've just
been running in and out, right? To get back to
and they're
class.
having to go up and down stairs. So it's, yeah.
So I am seriously rethinking how I do a full day workshop.
Thank you.
Here is, and maybe I should reach out to you after. I want to ask one question. How do you interact with the people who are like, I'm just going to stay in the room?
Yeah. So the beauty of LiiNK is that they have to sign the school district has to sign a 3-year MOU, memorandum of understanding, that says that they will partake if the school volunteers for, you know, they decide this is the school that's going to do it. And here's all the teachers listening. Are you kidding me? I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to move schools. Well,
wow,
I'm going to talk about stories in a minute, so don't disconnect at this point. But yeah, so it is mandated that if they're part of that program, then they will have to go outside with their kids, and the grade level teachers will go out together. So it's synchronized so that if it's grade K, grade 1, grade 5, whoever it is, they will take all grade K, grade 1, grade 5. All teachers will go out with their kids and they'll play among each other. But there's some real positives about this. One is that the kids who never get to be in class with each other are out at recess together and they can do what they want. The second is with them going to the bathroom at those different times in the day, they don't have to take bathroom breaks and water breaks. It's all scheduled into their play breaks. And so it really has changed the dynamic of how long does it take to do a bathroom break, right? And the teachers get bathroom breaks as often as the kids get bathroom breaks. And those are all very important features of doing things a little differently in the schools or in your workshops, Lisa, or in any kind of conference setting, you know, anything that you're doing, professional development. It's like, are you kidding me? We got to have more time to shove more information into somebody. No, going outside can be as good at professional development as being inside, but let them do it on their own learning patterns. But anyway, that's.
Well, and I think that's beautiful because we know that when kids go outside or adults go outside, you reset, right? It's like, okay, I've done all this cross body lateral stuff. My brains are working, both sides are working again. And now I'm coming back in and I have the opportunity to focus and pay attention.
Let me say one more thing about the teacher outdoors. And this is something we assume one way, and actually I do it a different way. So it's like a bait and switch. So we assume that when teachers are outside with their kids, that it's a great time for them to be able to learn different ways of being with their kids than typically in the classroom. But what I have really enforced for teachers to do when they go outside is have their time. So they do need to be watching what the kids are doing to make sure that everything's safe. But it's not the time to interact with the kids. For a couple of reasons. One is that kids become adults when adults are in their peripheral. So we don't want kids to be adults. We want kids to be kids. So we want them to be in their space doing their thing. And so I'll give an example of this. You know, kids sometimes will come up to a new person. So if I come out there to watch recess and I'm talking to a teacher at the time, a kid will come out and say, who are you? Why are you here? And I'll say, I'm here because I have just given you 4 recesses in your day. You're the recess person. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. And they're excited. Okay. But then they say, hey, will you come out here? And I go, no, I want to watch you from here. You go out and play. Just go out there and play. And I'm going to watch and see what you do. So they'll start out there. And as they get out there, I'll go, yep, good. But I'm not in their space, right? I want them to do their thing. They'll completely forget about me after about 5 minutes. And then I can do whatever I want. But I want the teachers doing the same. So when the teachers are out there, I want them active, but in their own active way. Because what we know from research is that when people stand or sit, it's not near, even if they're outdoors, it's not near as beneficial as if they're moving. They've got to get their heart rates going. They've got to get out there and get that energizing piece of the brain, which is building neurological highways, connecting the lobes, as long as they're actively pursuing, right? So they need that time. So what I tell them is, when you're outside, you can be in your groups, but not when school starts. It needs to be at a later time, because at first you need to be in quadrants areas.
Right. Need to be zoned. Yeah. Yeah.
But once the kids are doing what they need to do, teachers can start walking, they can start moving around the playground space and watch and go. That's important, because they need their time as much as the kids need their time.
Well, yeah, because you even though you're the teacher in that moment, you're not in control in that moment, right? The children are doing what they should be doing. You're doing, and maybe walking around the playground or doing something that is going to make you more active. But it's your break time too, right? In a way, and time for you to sort of come down a little bit from the
what do
last
they do
hour.
other than walking? I know you wanted to tell some stories, but I'm not quite sure we're going to be able to
So
get
let
to
me
that.
let me tell a story or two. Yep, let me tell a
Okay.
story or two with this in mind.
Okay.
So what they do typically is they'll say, I'm going to get my steps in,
Oh,
and
there
they
you go.
start walking at a faster pace outdoors. And there are some teachers, they are so gung-ho, they love this idea of being able to get out and do their thing, that they're trying to get, sometimes they'll say, I'm trying to get 5,000 to 6,000 steps before I leave school that day, or maybe even up to my 10,000 steps before I leave school that day, which is awesome.
Amazing.
But they do that because they're out there at their 4 breaks a day and they're doing their thing. Now, let me just say, schools right now, if you could get 2 breaks a day, is going to be a beautiful thing. With LiiNK, it's 4, but just know that whatever break you can get your time in as well, right? But here's a story around this, is that there was a teacher who, I had a bullseye on my head when I first came in, because the teacher was like, I hate what you represent. She couldn't hate me because she didn't know me, but she hated what I represented. She hated that she was going to have to go outdoors. She didn't understand. She still, even after I told her all the importance of the outdoors, she still didn't understand why it had to be her to go outside. Why couldn't the kids go out? Sure, great for kids, but why do I have to do this? I'm fine. Well, there was an article, there was going to be a guy that was coming, a freelance guy that was coming out to do an article on LiiNK and the benefits of what's going on with LiiNK. And this teacher signed up. I had no clue on how she felt before she came in. And she was coming in to do an interview with him in the main area, the office. And I said, hey, I don't have to be in here for the interview if you want me outside the room. And I said this with all the teachers that were coming in to do this. If you want me outside the room, no problem. I came into the room because she said, no, I'd like for you to be in there. I went, oh, shoot. Sure, to come down, and with a freelance person, hey, everything goes, right? I mean, we want it to. I want the truth to come out. So I sit over here in kind of a corner, and the guy asked her, what do you think about LiiNK? That's a broad question. And she says, I want to tell a personal story. She said, when I started, I didn't like Dr. Ray. I didn't like what she stood for. I thought she was coming in with these preconceived ideas that things were going to work no matter who it was, and that I just had to be part of her landscape. She put these quotes around it. And she said, so I did what she wanted me to do, because I'm a teacher and I'm a rule follower, and I did what she did. But here's the interesting thing. She said, I started taking it home. She said, I have to tell y'all, and I know this may go out in an article, that life wasn't as good at home as it should have been. My husband and I were not close, that we had kind of grown apart. Kids were kind of doing their thing. And, I'm not sure now that I sit here that my marriage wasn't on the rocks. And she said, I would go home, and because I felt better at school, getting my outdoor time in, instead of just putting the dog outside to have the dog time, I started deciding to walk the dog after school. And she said I was overweight. I was not happy. I think I was taking it out on Dr. Ray, but I was not happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't happy in my marriage. And so I would go out and do these walks. And then one day I said, come on, honey, you're going outside with me. We're going to do this walk. And he started walking with me, and we started talking to each other and started having good times. I know. We started having good times together again. And the dog was healthier because the dog was going on walks. We were all getting healthier. One day it was raining outside, and I said, come on, honey, we're going outside. And he said, no, it's raining. And she said, it doesn't matter. We're going outside. Put your rain stuff on. We're going. This is all LiiNK related because we go outside no matter the weather if we have the right gear on, right? Here's the bottom line. She said, I lost 65 pounds in 1 year by getting my walks in at school and at home. My marriage has become an amazing marriage again, like it was when we first got married. Our dog is happy. We're happy. Our kids are happy. I'm a happy person, and it's because of, and she pointed at me and said, it's because of LiiNK and what Dr. Ray brought to this program. That is a
Here we go.
I know.
Waterworks.
I know. It's an amazing story. And y'all, there was a teacher in another school district that said that over a 3-year period lost 120 pounds. These are huge stories, and it's health stories. These are bringing life back to adults. I can't stress enough how if you're in a rut and you're not happy and you're thinking, I don't like what I'm doing, but I don't want to go outdoors. What you're doing is you're fighting the one thing that is going to bring breath and oxygen back to you. And probably, maybe, to your family unit, whoever that is, or to your significant other, or to your life and what you see in the future for yourself.
Yeah.
You can't think that just doing your job is all there is to life.
Mm-hmm.
And this LiiNK, just the premise behind what I represent, what I've created, it's not about me, but it's about what we do for our fellow human beings.
Yes, and it's a beautiful.
I feel like I need to clap for that.
I know. It's like, amen, whatever we need to do to emphasize that. And I think it goes back to people's, I always blame that I hated exercise and sports because of my PE class. Sorry, because I wasn't good at it, right? But, you have to, so sometimes it's our stuff that gets in the way of us making a life change like these two teachers did, which is truly amazing.
And
all right,
I could go on to other, yeah.
You should do a series of essays on
stories
how
like
to
that.
yeah. I mean, those are powerful stories, powerful.
That's a great idea. I should do that in the summer when I've got time to.
Yes, you should do the essays and as a testimonial, right, to LiiNK.
Yeah.
And then send that out. I mean, principals and superintendents must.
Those are powerful anecdotes, right? To maybe get the program in a district that has never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think you need to do like a narrated storytelling, because I think it's the power of the emotion in the storytelling that's different than if you read it. So I mean, write it, but then we need to narrate it. You need to narrate it because it's powerful. Those lessons are powerful when you hear the emotion that comes through. Okay, well, you made me cry, and now we have to go. So hang in while I close this out. Whoa. Okay. So to learn more about IPA USA, please visit our website at IPAUSA.org. And until next time, keep on playing, not crying like I am. Oh my goodness, that was awesome.